Hi, my name is Micah Barbee, and I'm excited to announce my new podcast, Be Well and Exhale. On this podcast, we'll discuss lifestyle topics, entrepreneurship, and of course, wellness. Each episode will feature impactful guests who share their experiences in pursuit of success and wellness. So, get ready to be well and exhale with me. You can find us everywhere podcasts are available. Hi, my name is Micah Barbee, and I am the host of Be Well and Exhale podcast. This is our very first podcast, and I am super, super excited. Our guest for today is Jalissa Grier, my business bestie. She is the owner of Bella Soul Medical Spa here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So I have Jalissa on here today because she is really the whole meaning behind and purpose behind Be Well and Exhale, because we created that name together.
We did.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So first I wanted to just let you introduce yourself and what you do, and then we're going to hop right into it.
Okay. Well, as she said, I'm Jalissa Grier. I own Bella Soul Medical Spa here in Winston-Salem. I'm a board certified nurse practitioner, so my services kind of range from wellness to aesthetics. But I met Micah when we started our business back in 2021, was it? So it's been a great 2 years. Learned so much. Mm-hmm. So I'm interested to see what we'll talk about today, because you just never know.
Exciting. Well, I'm glad you brought that up. So last night I was scrolling and I was like, gosh, how did me and Jalissa become about? So I was in your DMs. I don't know if you remember that. I slid in your DMs, and that's how our friendship started. So I was like, let me screenshot this because I have to share it with you.
You went way back, because we talk all the time.
I was scrolling for a long time, and I lost it because somebody called me too. So yeah, it was annoying. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I have to share this. So first off, when we're starting these type of businesses, I think we love to give each other kudos. And so one of the very first conversation was me reposting your business. And he was like, thank you so much for sharing, and congrats on launching your new business. And I said, thanks. I'm still trying to figure this all out, with a whole bunch of emojis. And I said, I need to bounce ideas off of your head, and if there's anything you need, I'm here.
This was pre-voice message, Micah.
Yes, pre-voice message, Micah. Yeah, because I would have definitely said something.
Definitely.
And you said, one day at a time, LOL, and same to you. You've got this, with the strong arm emoji. And you said the hardest part was getting started, and we've already done that. So I said, yes, girl, it's definitely the hardest. Honestly. And this was also really cute too. So a couple of days later, you said, we definitely have to plan a lunch or something to talk about the struggles and the win. And I said, OMG, yes, because I launch in 2 weeks, and yet I'm just now ordering my supplies, and I'm scared. He's like, it's all going to work out. Here's my number. Text me anytime. My first appointment is Tuesday, and I'm just as scared, but it's nothing we can't handle.
Period. Oh, we were like babies. Babies.
So I was just like, wow, that is amazing. Just like looking at this whole thing full circle, and where you are and where I'm at. And it just kind of made me realize the importance of also why I wanted to start this podcast, because I feel like I've grown so much in my business because of business besties like you, and the support and the encouragement and the push. And for those who don't know, Winston-Salem is about an hour and a half, an hour or so, depending on what area you're in Charlotte. So it's really nice that you don't look at our business as competition. Yeah. So so it was really cool to kind of just reflect and kind of go back to day one. I was like, oh my gosh. So to kind of just circle back as to why she is the first person on this show is we created a pop-up called Be Well and Exhale. So this was for a wellness-focused, wellness-centered pop-up, because we were just kind of, in the beginning of your business, you're invited to all these different pop-ups, but they're geared towards maybe more fashion, those selling handbags. And not really no shade to them, but I feel like that wasn't our target audience. So we said, let's come together and do more of high class, luxury, wellness. Yeah. And we had chiropractors there, masseuses, CBD enthusiasts. So it was really focused on what I think our demographic of our clientele would prefer. So that is how it came about. But so how did you feel about the name Be Well and Exhale?
I just felt like it was perfect. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly what we wanted people to do. Be able to find people or find a community of people, especially wellness or whatever the case may be, CBD, like alternative therapies to kind of incorporate into their day-to-day routine. So I think it was the perfect like segue, especially as new business owners, into all the things we wanted to create for our businesses as
Yes.
well. So,
but let's not like forget how stressful it
girl,
was.
I'm still stressed.
Over, but no, it's just like, just think about like the growth. Like, okay, I don't even remember how much we profited from that, but like we make that in a day.
It was a learning lesson,
almost,
sure.
in our services that we offer now versus like we were so stressed, like getting all this just to make that. But it's just like it wasn't even about the money. It was more so about the experience. It was about kind of like trend setting in a sense, because like a lot of people weren't really doing that. And then also just exposure, getting us out there, getting people comfortable with just getting B12 shots.
Right.
Like,
They're like, do I drink it? That's what people are like. Do I drink the shot? I'm like, no, baby, it's an injection.
Yeah. So that's basically how Be Well and Exhale came about from our event, and it was lovely. And I think we made some really great connections as well with the vendors.
Yeah.
So what is Bella Soul Medical Spa? Like, what do you do? What does the name mean? Tell me all about it.
So Bella Soul is named after my daughters. I have two babies, Bellamy and Soleil. So I kind of took their names. I can't have any more kids now, but I took their names, made it into a business because I felt like at the time when I started my business, I was on maternity leave. So what can I do to be home with my kids more? Like that was the goal for me. Work-life balance is like the ultimate goal. Being in healthcare, working for like corporate medical facilities, I just felt like I didn't have that balance. So naming it after my children is kind of like the motivating factor, as cliche as it sounds. But that was my motivation. I jumped in just doing IV hydration. And then after IV hydration kind of took off, I was like, okay, what else can I do? So I'm still working full time at this point. I'm sure you understand like the hustle in the beginning, and it's still kind of a hustle, but I was able to grow into other wellness services like weight loss and add on aesthetics and still take some trainings just so I can offer my clients what they ask me for, because ultimately people tell you what they want. So I was able to grow and just kind of figure out what that looked like for Bella Soul, and now we're on like third location. This is the third location. This is crazy. It started like a solo salon suite.
I remember that.
Girl.
I forgot about that.
Like,
it was like, what, 2 weeks?
A box. Yeah, it was literally like it might have been 2 months. Okay, 2 months at solo salon. And then I moved into my previous location, which was great, but then hired some staff members, and now I'm in a new location.
Awesome. So like, let's like take it back a notch. So I know you got into entrepreneurship to kind of create that like balance that you're seeking. How did you start? Like, what did this journey look like for you? Because I know you weren't like 12 years old, like, I want to own a med spa. Like, what does the journey, in short, look like? Where did you start? And how did you get to like right here as far as career transitions?
So I think my dad's an entrepreneur. He's self-employed all my life, most of my life. And I think that seeing that motivation kind of, I always knew I wanted to do something, maybe not a med spa, but being a nurse is like, what can you do? But the journey from like startup to now looked like a lot of research, a lot of like, okay, what classes should I take, or like who's doing this, or what industry do I really want to jump into? Who looks like me in this industry? So like doing the research around like what that looked like for me specifically, and then investing. I think the investment is like the biggest portion that we don't really talk about a lot. It costs a lot of money to start a business. So I'm working full time, so I'm like, what money can I allocate towards doing this thing? And then being smart about like how much of that I can allocate towards this. What can I start with? We want to do it all in the beginning for sure, but just starting somewhere and then allocating those funds towards it, and then just kind of go from there. I mean, long nights, of course. You come home, you got to be a parent, and then
and a wife.
Listen. The whole thing, right?
The third child.
The third child, right? I'm sorry, Austin. But just like figuring out, it's a sacrifice. I really think that's the best way to sum it up. You sacrifice some things, whether that be time with your children, or whether that be time with your husband, or whether that be, I don't know. It was a sacrifice in the beginning, especially if it came to money. It was tough. Yeah. And I think it took a mental toll on me as well, because in the social media age, I think we look around and we see what everyone else is doing, and you want to not.
We're gonna talk about imposter syndrome. We're gonna talk about it.
It's a real thing.
But no, I agree. I mean, because we're kind of in a similar space career wise, but I feel like the investment portion is so important, and people think, oh, you're trying to get money, out of folks just to learn the material, but it's just like, think about college. Like, I
Mm.
feel like, not saying I was back in college just going through learning the business, but I knew how to be a nurse from
Mm-hmm.
college.
And
I'm
that's
learning
good.
how to be a business owner, like, just off of nothing. So you have to invest in classes just like
Mm-hmm.
you invest in those courses in
Right.
college. Like, it's the same thing. Like, you have to know the ins and outs. You have to know these terms. You have to, I don't know, just kind of set yourself up. Like, I didn't know about like the accountants,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just all these different things that come with business ownership that you have to
You just learn
invest
as you
in.
go.
Yeah,
You learn as
for
you go.
sure. And then also just like, again, that network of
Mm-hmm.
people that are in the industry is just so vital, and just also a cheap way to
Listen, hey
balance
girl.
ideas and bounce ideas off of each
Mm-hmm.
other. So okay, cool. So I know that you kind of touched a little bit on balancing as a
Mm-hmm.
mom and wife. Like, where do you find your escape in all this? Like, where's your exhale when it
Mm.
comes to balancing those three things?
Honestly, my kids. So when I leave here, so I'm currently open Monday through Saturday, but on Saturday I try to work as little as possible
Mhm.
because when I rush home, I'm like, what can I do with my kids this weekend? And you, the same way for you.
Mhm.
Like, let me go be with my kids because the way they see the world or like the way they just interact when I'm there is being a nurse, like working 12-hour shifts. When I went to go travel nurse, when I was working full time, they didn't gravitate towards me because I
Mm.
wasn't there, right?
Mhm.
So now that I know that I can be there for them, I just go and like, let's go find something fun to do. Like, what do you want to do today, Bellamy? And that for me is like amazing. So
Yeah.
my goal, even when I'm like searching for that balance, I have more of a balance now, but my goal is to
Mhm.
definitely just be able to be home more. Like I want to be
Mhm.
close and then just still be able to function without me. That's
Yeah.
the end goal. So if I can be my babies, that's my like,
Yeah. Girl, I feel
yeah.
it. And it's like, even as your friend, I've seen the transitions,
Mm-hmm.
and I know how it is. Like, I have my son not full time all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, that is why I hire so
Yeah.
aggressively, so that I can open up that time and space for him and cut
Mm-hmm.
off everything from the world whenever it's his time. And
Right.
so it's very fulfilling. Like, people like, aren't you tired of going to here and doing this? And I'm like, no,
No,
it really,
physically, yes,
like,
but I
yeah,
love
but it
that.
like fills me up, like the joy
Mm-hmm.
that you get from a person that you brought into this life, and they
Mm-hmm.
just want to spend all the time with you. So it's really rewarding. So I can see that, like, a lot of people equate to like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be near the kids, which is,
Right.
we get those feelings too. But
Mm-hmm.
I think we don't talk about enough, like, how fulfilling it is,
Yeah.
to be around your innocent children
Mm-hmm.
who, they just know you as mommy, not as like mommy who had a rough day,
Right.
a rough week.
Because they don't deserve that either, too. They
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I definitely agree, and I love that. I love that. It's so exciting because
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, it's sometimes it's hard when you don't have like other mom friends to like really understand,
Mm-hmm.
where you're coming from,
Right.
when it comes to like that balance. So cool, cool,
That's my
cool.
girl. That's where my
So
balance is.
no, well, okay. So another question, and I know that we are kind of talking about the motherhood and the balance. Like, I do want to focus in on mom guilt. So
Mm.
I remember you did do a travel contract, and you were driving how far? I
It
can't
wasn't too
remember.
far. It was like maybe an hour and a half.
That was far
It's
enough,
far enough, yeah, for sure.
like for a 12-hour shift.
Yeah.
So, like, how at that time, do you, I guess, find some type of like relief, like knowing that, okay, I'm doing this for like, what was I know your whys, like your children and
Right.
stuff, but like, I just want to talk about mom guilt and how sometimes we overly guilt ourselves,
Mm.
when it's like the kids don't even
I'm
care.
not crying, I promise. My eye itchy.
It's okay, you can cry.
So, mom guilt is real, right? Like, I think for me, again, like my children, like
Mm-hmm.
when they would call out at night, they wouldn't call for me. They
Mm.
wouldn't, like, I would go in there and so they'd be like, no, mommy, not you.
Oh
And I'd
wow.
be like, oh, really? I'm about to cry for real.
Yeah.
But I think at that time, like when I was like going back and forth and doing the contract, the for me, I kind of had to shut it all out. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was like, okay, mommy has to do this now because if I don't do it now, then I don't have a business, right? Or I don't have a job. Like,
Yeah.
well, how do I pay my bills? Or how do I pay for daycare? Like, how do I have a partner, of course, and he was helping me at that time. But that also creates strain in that relationship too.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just mom guilt; it was wife guilt. It was like,
Mm.
okay, well, maybe I shouldn't start my business, or maybe I shouldn't like, do all these things I want to do because of my family. And I think a lot of women go through that. they're the things that they like imagine for their lives or the things that they want for their lives, they kind of put on the back burner so that everybody else can be taken care of as well. But I think in that moment, I just kind of had to shut it all out and just say, like, girl, this is what you want to do. And honestly, it kind of hurts and it sucks. But the people who are supporting you and going to be there for you in the end, it's just all going to work out.
Yeah.
So, I quit that contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I did like I was relieved for you.
I did the first one, but I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. But you thugged it out way more than I think I could ever
Girl, it was
handle. But it's just like, and that's the thing, you know, people like assume like, oh, she has a husband, you know, he's there, he's active. Like he has to breathe too. And I think like that mom guilt thing is real. Like when Ace was with me, you know, before I hired all my weekend help, if I had like a great opportunity that I'm just like, I'm not missing this like $1,000 group trip, you know, and I would feel so guilty because my friends would be like, go and do it. I'm like, well, no, I have to spend so much time with him because I only have him for X amount of days. And it didn't help that when I would put my scrubs on, he would just break down crying because he knew I was leaving. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I feel horrible. But it's just like, on the long term, I was able to make those sacrifices so that I can afford to hire, I can afford to pay staff, and I can just like not look at my phone the whole time that he's there. And so I think we just have to like remind ourselves like these are just small term sacrifices, and they're babies, like they're 4, they're 3, like they don't understand and they will appreciate it.
Bellamy, when I'm leaving, she's like, "Mom, you going to build a soul?" And I'm like, "Why are you doing this?" I'm like, I'm coming back. She's like, "Mom, you going to build a soul?" And not that it's now
smart too,
but now, they're way smarter than we give them credit for. But like now, she associates that with a good thing. Yeah, like, "Mom, you going to build a soul?" I want to go to build a soul.
Girl, and that's so look, they need another play date. So Ace was saying the same thing. I had to just stop by the med spa to get something one weekend. He was in the car with me. He was like, "Oh, we going to mommy's job? I haven't been there in a while. I want to go." I was just like, "Okay, let's go.
Let's go." I love that.
So it's just, you know, I think we don't give them, like, we don't allow ourselves to be human, but we also like don't allow them either. Like they have feelings and they have emotions.
A lot of them.
Yes, but okay, we're gonna talk. We'll pause on the mom stuff. But yeah, you know.
Yeah, you got me over crying.
No, so I wanted to also, like, you know, while we're on the mom, you know, just want to talk about the husband in this picture. Like, how has his contribution been to supporting your role in your business? Because, you know, you have all these like gender roles, and some men don't really support women entrepreneurs or, you know, kind of being this dominant figure in your career. So how has that been for you?
Honestly, I have like the greatest husband ever because he's like, whatever you need to do, just do that thing, right? But the communication portion is like the biggest key of it. Like what you need to do, whatever you need to do, you need to let me know that so I can adjust to. And I think throughout the travel nursing, throughout like starting the business, all those things, he's always been pushing me to do more, like take more risks. And I'm always like, but super supportive. Like I have like no complaints. And he's just, I don't know, he's just awesome.
I'll say, you hear that?
Listen, and he's my guinea pig for everything.
Yeah,
I have a service.
I know. Like, okay, getting that facial. I love it.
Chemical pills. He gonna come do it. So yeah,
I love it. All right, so I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome because I know we talked about this in our group chat. Shout out to Drip Bays.
Yeah, shout out to Drip Bays.
So, well, one, you know, let's just talk about like what is imposter syndrome and what society has made something. So for me, imposter syndrome is like this new word, right? But it's like,
I'm gonna say, is it even a real thing?
Like, right? But it's been a concept, and it's been in existence of, you know, basically like this worry that you are not good enough for what your purpose is and what you're trying to walk into. And I think social media has like really like ripped the Band-Aid off of it, kind of just exposing people and making us, especially in the business industry, feel like, okay, we're not good enough to do X, Y, and Z. We shouldn't like flaunt or post, you know, certain things because we don't have it like that. So like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know like it's something you have said that you struggle with. So like, what do you feel about that?
I think imposter syndrome really boils down to like just exposing your own insecurities. I'll start there because there's things that if you're so confident, I believe if you're confident in them, there's really nothing that could make you feel less than that. But I think it just exposes a little bit of your insecurities. So I say my biggest thing is, again, social media. Like you were saying, like when you get on the internet, whatever's on your timeline, you absorb those things.
Mm-hmm.
So in my industry, aesthetics is very dominated by Caucasian or white women who are like thriving in the industry. For our community, we barely know where to start when it comes to aesthetics, because a lot of times we get excluded when it comes to conversation about skin or skincare or like Botox fillers. Like Black women look at me and like, Botox? Mm-hmm. What I need that for? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, girl, let's talk about it.
They're almost offended.
Yeah. So when I go to post things like lip filler or like tox results, like I'm almost not going to post it, because I'm like, is this good enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, are people even going to receive this? Like, it's very interesting how it works, and it'll hit you when you least expect it. Like, you could have the greatest week ever. Like, I have the greatest week ever at Bella Soul, and then I'd be like, am I doing this right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this little things that kind of creep up, but I think there are also insecurities that I could probably work on, and I think that's where a lot of people's imposter syndrome comes from.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like so it's like, it's the people that actually make, if I don't know if I struggle with it, you know, it's something I don't like, just like I'm diagnosing myself with it, but I know I struggle with it from a standpoint of like, I have a lot of support and cheerleaders, especially from back home, because they know a little bit of my journey and what it took for me to get here. And so I used to have, and I talked to my therapist about this, like, I am life coach. Look, I got all the things, and Jesus.
Amen. Amen.
But I struggled with reposting and telling people what I'm doing. And then like just saying, I'm so proud of you, I look up to you, all these things, because it just made me feel like weird, because I'm just like, well, did they know like a couple of weeks ago my account was like in the negative, or you know, just all these things. So it was like, you don't want like people to think like, oh, she got it like that.
That's trauma. That's trauma.
You know, yeah, it's girl, my stuff, it gets deep, but it's just like I feel bad like saying, oh, I did this, I accomplished this, but it's like, these are the facts, and this is what I did, and I overcame these things, and
if you don't talk about them, how will other people even know like I can do that too?
Exactly. Right. So that's like what my whole goal, and like, and even create and Be Well and Exhale is just to not even expose everything that I've been through in life, but just let people know like it's other people that are going through things, and that should not stop you or delay you from your journey, because going back to kind of that imposter syndrome, like, you don't just like become, like, Obama didn't just wake up and become president, you know? Like, he had to go through a journey. He had to walk into his purpose. He had to become, and I feel like becoming is something that people try and just skip over.
Or we just don't talk about it.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, we don't talk about the rough, you know, the rough, the tough. And that's why like I really wanted to create this platform to really expose what we go through on a daily, you know, from business to personal. And it's not all this glitz and glam and the filters and the cool TikToks.
Right. I made 10K yesterday. Yeah, girl, but
like, listen, you know, I made 10K. Like, and it just was like, all right, bye. Went to the bills, went to the loans, like went to pay off debt. Like, it's just like, it doesn't faze me, you know? And I just want other people to not be fazed and think, oh, they got a camera podcast, or they have this and that, like they, you know, must be doing it big. Like, it's not that. And so that is like really the main purpose in me creating this platform, aside from my personal and my business. I'm like, dang, I got all these different accounts I'm signed into, but it's just like, it's really a passion project. I know people like, are you running to monetize off this? Like, I don't know, I don't care, but I know I am fulfilled when I can talk about my journey and also hear other people's and just be uplifted and inspired. Like, that's my goal. But yes, no, like you have inspired me so, girl, so much. Like, y'all don't understand. Jalissa is like that. You know how you have the angel and the devil. Listen. She's not the devil. But
angel. I'm not like, which one?
But like, if I could combine the two,
you know, it's so funny because I'm like, I'm being a mom right now. I need to stop. I'm like, I understand what you mean, because we recently had a conversation and I was like, I'm being a little rough, because you was like K, and I was like, she's mad. All right. She
knows my energy, but it's like, no, you need friends that are not always gonna like be yes men or yes woman. And I feel like Jalissa is that person for me, like from the get go. Like, if I have a true like business and personal, just like dilemma and struggle that you can't really talk about with your friends because they might not get it because they're not in the industry or they're not like suffering from this whole mom guilt thing. Like, this is my person that I will go to, I will consult with. And I just feel like you truly, like, you pour into me so much. Like, I use you as a resource when making certain decisions because I can be impulsive.
Listen, I'll be like, wait.
A lot of times.
Let's run that back. Okay,
I can't wait to tell you about my
oh Lord,
my new venture over brunch after this.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's just, I think it's really important to have that balance of friends. And even like if we want to bring in the Drip Days group chat, like
we always know who's gonna say what and like who to come to for like specific things.
Yes, sure. Like if I want to hear like the sweet and safe answer, I'm going to Jalissa.
Jalissa all day. Yeah.
Shout out to Sophisticated Skin.
Okay, in South Carolina.
And then if I want to hear like the real, like give it to me raw, like pray for me, I'm gonna hit up Von Trees up in there, Dripping Fuel in Maryland. And then if I just want like just to me like a nice balance of,
so I'm like in the middle.
The two. That's what I'm like. You're like the little angel in the devil. I like to call you the devil, but I'm just saying like you just had that like. You're going to show both sides and both outcomes. And it's really rare to find like a genuine person that's going to really just support you in whatever you do, even if it's not what you suggest, and, I really appreciate that. And so that's why I was like, you had to be here on this show first because like, just had a little spot for Jalissa Grier.
I'm a crier apparently, so I'm trying not to cry over here.
This is like my first time seeing you cry.
Girl, I don't
like so proud of that.
I'm not doing it all the time, but not in front
tears.
of people. Right.
I brought the tears. That was me.
It's so funny.
All right, so kind of trying to wrap up. Okay. I don't want to keep you here all day, but I wanted to kind of just like ask a question to really like think about, and you can't say I wouldn't change anything, but if you were to go back in time and change a business decision, like what would you have changed?
You gonna put me on the spot?
Yeah.
I definitely would hire differently, right? Because I think that being the business owner, I think you should be the most profitable person in your business, but the people that you hire should be a reflection of that. And I think I suck at hiring. Really? I really suck at, girl, have you
no.
Okay, you know. But
girl, I just thought about that meme I sent when SpongeBob, or was it Squidward, had the box. Like, so basically, Squidward was looking out of the window when SpongeBob was leaving.
Yeah. That's an insider. Okay? That's an insider. The people don't need to know about that one. But no, listen though, I really feel like I could vet a little bit better because the end goal for Bella Soul is so I can be home more with my children, and it can run without me having to have my hand in every single thing. So if I could go back and change anything, I would definitely just like vet differently, or I would hire someone to like.
How will you know until you know though? Like that's the thing. That's like where it gets tricky.
But I think this is every person who owns a business has to hire somebody, right? Yeah. So I feel like I always equate it to McDonald's. You know how many McDonald's employees probably like turnover every day? But how do you know until you hire them? So, but my biggest thing is I could hire better. Okay. I could hire better. I could like, I'm a person who like sees beyond like, so you're sitting here, but I'm like, I want to know your story. I can't do that no more. I like people, but it doesn't work as employees. It does not work that way. Like we can be a family, but it really boils down to how can we better the business. And
yeah, and I feel like that is definitely not just like a linear thing. Like you can't just like plug and chug. Like it is going to take some time. I have luckily been blessed. I think.
Girl. Can you send some
but just like a wonderful staff, and we still have people like. Emailing and messaging like, hey, are y'all hiring? And I don't hire everybody that reaches out, but I will say I've truly been blessed with the type of staff that I do have, and just their story. I don't know, everything for me has been like very much, I feel like God led, how they have been placed.
It seems like you have a lot of fire starters. I need some fire starters. Yeah. That's what I need. Yeah. I need people who just want it. Like,
maybe it's you.
Me? I feel like I'm super nice though. That's crazy. Like how I'm with you. Like I could be a little bit more like that with my employees.
Yeah.
I
I
could probably
mean,
do a
but
little bit more like.
I think you are very good. And I take note from you also, just like as a business owner and hiring. I feel like there are definitely ways that I could be more uh consistent, more disciplined and strategic. I think sometimes I get a little too fun. And I want to also make sure I don't like, okay, I'm definitely, your boss, so like I can be a
Right.
friend
That line is
too.
like very
And it
gray.
can be very tricky, especially with someone like my personality. But I feel like it has definitely got strengthened
Good,
since
good, good.
starting the business. But it can definitely be very,
Girl,
very tricky.
I didn't have to lay down the
So,
law. It's so bad. I didn't have to be like,
okay.
look, this is what we doing, y'all. Okay? You can
Yeah.
either hear
Yeah, you
or
don't play
here.
about your evaluations, and I
Period.
love that for you.
Cause I need
I
to
love that.
document it. Cause when we
Yeah.
have this sit down, like, hey,
Yeah.
it's nothing you didn't know.
Yeah.
But I definitely think hiring is my biggest challenge, and that's one of the things that I'm like working on, like actively, like getting better at.
What would you give advice to someone wanting to get into this industry? Like just one piece of advice.
Be realistic. Be very realistic about like what it is that you feel like you want to do, and like be realistic about being an employee. Or are we referring to people who are like wanting to start a business, or like coming to the industry? Okay, so I guess for starting a business, being realistic, honestly, about where you start, and then having a vision for where you want to go, so that you start there. So you don't have to revamp and rebrand yourself a million times to get to that point. So definitely being realistic about where you are now and where you want to go.
Okay. All right. So, Jalissa Grier brand, what is next for you guys?
There's so much.
Yes, because what
my
all
brain
do you
is
do?
Always churning. So,
like in your credentials, I want everybody to know everything, because like it's not just Bella Soul medical spa.
So I'm a board certified family nurse practitioner. So I specialize in family medicine. I offer telehealth services. Actually, the name of that business is Amethyst Virtual Health. Now it's actually integrated into the Bella Soul website as a sister company. Okay. So when you go to bellasoulmedicalspa.com, you can actually scroll to the bottom, click telemedicine, and then it'll take you to the Amethyst Virtual Health.
Question: website. Did you create another LLC for that, or okay?
It's its own entity, separate entities, because different services, but. I was trying to find out for the longest how to segue them into each other, so I didn't have to like market that like as a whole thing. But there's an Instagram for it, there's a website for it, like there's a whole thing.
Me? Like,
girl, it's a lot.
It's like a ghost company over here,
right? But
and what all like you offer? So like where are you licensed?
So I'm actually licensed in North Carolina, Florida, and New Mexico. I'm working on getting other licenses in free practice states or full practice states where I can practice without an MD. But I do weight loss like I do in office at Bella Soul, but also acute care visits. So if you have like a cold or COVID or whatever the case may be, upset stomach, travel medicine. So if you need certain like vaccines or anything before you go out, or if you come back and you have like traveler's diarrhea or something, I could send a prescription for you. So like my license allows me to do so much. I just haven't really tapped into the full potential.
I love it. And you're so young. Like the world is yours. You've inspired me to go back.
You make me sick. Yeah, go to school. Do it. It's on cost.
Yeah. And so how do people find that, find you in the telehealth? And
so again, you can go to bellasoulmedicalspa.com, or you can go to amethystvirtualhealth.com, and it's there. Right now, all the services are listed on there, but you just sign up for our email list, and then we'll send out kind of information as we launch. So, for people who want to come into the industry, though, especially aesthetics, because I get calls every day. Having an IV hydration and med spa startup course. There's another girl here that does IV hydration, so we're gonna partner. We have a venue, we have a date, so November 11th, here in Winston-Salem. So we're hoping to see you all there. We have payment plans available, all those things, just to make it affordable. But you're really gonna come and be able to leave and start your business. I mean, ultimately, the goal is for you to have everything you need. And then we want to be a vessel. We want to be a source for those people who are like, okay, I've taken the class. Now what? Now what do we do? So we'll also be helping you transition into that business owner phase. So.
I love that because, me and Rachel, we've done a workshop as well. And,
that inspired me.
Yeah.
I was like, Micah's doing like 55 things over there. And I'm over here like, oh, okay, I'll just do this one thing.
Because it's like when you get like the influx and overwhelming questions, and it's like goes back to God. I feel like sometimes you're kind of pushed and forced into a space, even if you kind of don't really want to do it, or you feel like you don't have the capability to do it. Like it's no way. Like I'm getting all these DMs and all these questions, and people are gravitating towards me for me to not like lead and teach and use like what I've learned. And with us being, to me, still baby businesses, like how can I teach somebody? But it's just like you did it.
Yeah,
and you did it without like like A, B, C, D, this is how you go, so it's just like, if I can do it and make mistakes and tell people how not to make those, like, why not? People trust me, and I trust me, essentially, because, like, we're doing, making these, whatever, so it's just like, I definitely understand that. And people don't understand, after your workshop, after your classes, you still have to do the work, and you being available and a resource even after, like, that speaks volumes, because some people will teach a class and be like, whatever. Bye, and it just, like, it sucks. And I know how it is, because you have, like, questions. And so, I think that is super cool and super important. And I know this is a new building for you, so you have a grand opening coming up. When is that?
Yes, so September 23rd, we're gonna have this huge party. It's a customer appreciation fall open house event, just so people can come out and, like, learn about the services, because we do our due diligence on Instagram, Facebook, email marketing. But I need you to come in. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. I want you to understand why we're here. Right?
Listen, this is a business owner, because, like, when you go to these small businesses, I'm sorry, not small business, but you go to these franchises, you don't get to meet the owner. Right. Like, I think this is, like, it's very much, I don't know, it's just more rewarding, and clients really appreciate that. I think especially this day and age with being a young Black entrepreneur and a female, like, I think we gravitate and want to support that naturally, like, all races.
You know what I get often? Like, I didn't even know this existed. A Black med spa. I was like, it was one thing to come into a room with patients and they say, like there's a Black provider here, but it's another thing to have your own business and people come in like, oh my God, I didn't know you existed.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's crazy. And it's like kind of going back to history and how, even like you did like women's health, right?
It's part of my job. So
yeah. So it's just like, we have this fear of trusting healthcare. And so I think it's so comforting and reassuring that, you do see someone like you and you can typically trust them a little bit more, just because of historically what has happened.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going through. Like, you can understand because you look like me.
Yeah. So it's like, beyond the beauty and beyond the aesthetics, I think it is a beautiful thing to have someone that you can trust and relate to, and just seek, that healthcare advice from and those tips. And because, some people might steer you wrong, not because they're intentionally doing it, but they don't understand your skin. They don't understand, how things work with you. So I think, like, what we are doing is so cool. It's so amazing. Girl. And it's like we're in a Renaissance era, because just like, this is so, look, Beyonce.
Listen, I was about to get it. Okay, not yet. Not on this
right?
Show. Not on
Everybody
this show.
on mute, okay?
First of all. Yes.
But no, seriously, like, I just, like, this is like a new era for us. So I think it's beautiful. Like, people like, oh, it's too many IV hydration companies. It's really not.
No. You find the one that works for you, and then you patronize it. I mean, what
exactly?
There is a million. What is it? CVS is on every corner. They be across the street from Walgreens. CVS, Walgreens, Burger King, McDonald's. Like, your people will find you. Yeah. And you need to make sure you do a good job of finding your people, because not everybody's going to support.
Exactly. And my little tip to entrepreneurs is, don't think that they're just going to come to you. You put a couple posts out there, you got to do the work. You got to do the work. But I know we have not a lot of time left. And, we have so many episodes to talk about this stuff. And you probably will be back on soon.
Yeah, bring me back at the end. We can wrap it up.
Yes, especially after your workshop. I would love to hear about that. But finally, I want to know, how do you, Jalissa Grier, how do you be well and exhale? Like, how do you find, I guess, your escape and self-care and just taking care of yourself?
Lately it's been just saying no. My husband's like, why do you keep doing that? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, why do you keep doing things you don't want to do? Like, somebody invite me to something and I'll be like, yeah, I'll come, but I know it's gonna put a strain on my schedule. But I like to show up, because I want people to show up for me. But sometimes I just can't, and I've accepted that. So saying no is like my ability. It allows me to excel. It allows me to kind of take time to, like, focus on what I need to focus on. And even on my day off, today's my day off. I'm spending here with you because I love you. But, did
you want to say no or no?
No. I didn't want to say no. I was just like 2 hours. Yeah. But, it's okay. But no, it's just like being able to say no and being comfortable with that. And then when I can say no, I can go take a nap. I can, like, take myself out to eat. I can go get my nails done, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Or do nothing.
Yeah. So. No, that is beautiful, because that is something that I have struggled with since I was a child, just being very passive and people pleasing. And I still struggle with it now. It's gotten like 1,000 times better. But yeah, saying no is way harder than I think people give
so
credit to, especially when people, like you said, have shown up for you. You want to show up for them, but like you can't fully show up for anybody if you don't take care of yourself first. Yeah. And so I think that was a perfect answer and might be our next show topic because I can talk about that all day.
Okay. Well, I'll be so good.
So yeah, no, that's awesome. But I just want to thank you so much for
I
being on the
enjoyed
show.
it.
Like I can't, like I said, it has to be. I was like, I don't care if I have to drive to Winston-Salem.
Like it's that far. It ain't that
like
far.
I'm coming here, and we got to talk about it. You got to be the first because it only.
Thank you for bringing up the DMs. I was like, girl, it's been.
Yeah,
I love that. Yeah. We've been through a lot. Like that's crazy.
So much. Like, and it's quite cool because I feel like we got so busy and just like our world we're in.
Yeah, I didn't forget about those business brainstorms. You left me hanging out.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. But it's just like, we get so busy, but I love that like we can come back and connect, like just finishing where we left off. Yeah. So it's just like it's friendship and business besties. That's like it's a beautiful thing. And I think people really don't. They're so struggling out here and they're lonely in this industry because they don't have anyone. And it's kind of like sometimes on them, like you have to put yourself out there. Yeah. And sometimes just people, some people are munchers and they try and just get information out of you. But like, I feel like, we got a little soul tie situation. Yeah, at this point, we locked in. Like, it's up and it's stuck right now. Bye. So quickly, before I forget, I want to make sure after every episode, we take some deep breaths because now we're about to go back into like reality, right? So I want to do a deep breath with our guests and we are going to inhale for 4 seconds and you guys can do it with us. Inhale, hold it for 4 seconds and then I want you to slowly exhale. You can close your eyes, open your eyes, whatever. But on the count of 3, I want us to take a deep breath in. Breathe out. And now you exhale. I hope you guys do well.
Bye.